Mercedes has been dethroned for real this year and have looked like a shadow of what it used to be at times. Many people are expecting for Mercedes to return to their best again next year, but perhaps it isn't as easy as it looks. Toto Wolff thinks about this the same and has now revealed some concerning statements about Mercedes for the upcoming year. Will Mercedes really return to the top, or do they need some years to return to dominant performances? Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff has stated that the team's poor Formula 1 season in 2022 was necessary to re-energize the organisation. They had an 8-year reign as Constructors' Champions prior to 2022, the longest of any team in F1 history, and 7 drivers' titles, with Lewis Hamilton winning 6 for the team, and Nico Rosberg winning 1 by beating Lewis Hamilton in 2016. However, this year has been difficult for the team as they fought to get up to speed with the new standards. The W14 featured bouncing and porpoising concerns, as well as aerodynamic drag issues on high-speed circuits. Wolff stated that the team needed to analyse what went wrong to understand how they went from being a dominant force to barely competing for podiums. We are analysing the reasons in the past for why teams that dominated over an era suddenly lost performance, he told media. You can trace it back pretty well. A change, the regulation, people leaving, a tyre that changed fundamentally. For us, the regulation changed. We got it wrong, but all the other pillars are still in place. I'm 100% sure that this was a difficult year that was necessary for us to re-energise the organisation. Their only victory, George Russell's victory in the Brazilian Grand Prix, came about a year after Mercedes won their last race in Saudi Arabia in 2021. Wolff believes the victory taught the squad to appreciate how good it feels to win races again, after one of their longest droughts since 2013. Because the lack of consecutive victories helped Mercedes appreciate Brazil's victory more. He explained, "We won 8 times in a row, more than 100 races, and this year has let us come back to the ground. It made us appreciate how it feels when you win in Brazil, and also understand how difficult it is to recover. Not from a race like we've had it before, but from many races that were just not good enough." And now that the season is over, Toto Wolff has humorously disclosed the secret area where the W13 will house Mercedes' F1 collection. The W13 suffered from issues such as porpoising and proved to be a considerably more difficult vehicle for Lewis Hamilton and George Russell than its predecessors. Hamilton has joked that he'll not be asking ownership of this specific car, and Wolff admits that it may not be the most prominent of Mercedes' Formula 1 competitors. "I think this car will always have a special place in our collection. Very far back," Wolff joked to the media. However, the team manager expects that the group can maintain the progress demonstrated on the W13 this year. "I think that, hopefully in the next years, we'll do her justice, because the learning curve with that car was enormous," he explained. "Our fundamental understanding of aerodynamic and vehicle dynamics correlation has really had a step change, as it has gone through a step change of learning. It will also not be forgotten as a car that dominated the Brazilian Grand Prix." With Russell taking the team's lone victory of 2022, Hamilton concluded the year without a win, marking the first winless season of his F1 career. Hamilton has remarked that losing this record does not bother him, and while Wolff understands this, he hopes that the Brackley-based team will be able to offer Hamilton with a car capable of victory in 2023. He says that the 1 victory a year isn't really a record that bothers him, Wolff commented. "If I'm trying to put myself in his shoes of where I was before Brazil, it didn't particularly bother me whether we would win a race this season, because all our eyes were already on next year. But then, having won one, that felt pretty good, so at least nobody can say, well, they didn't win a race that year. I don't think that this particular record is an important one for him, but we need to provide him with a car next year that can fight for victories and the championship with. That's most important, and he knows that." In addition, Toto Wolff has cautioned his Mercedes Formula 1 team not to repeat the mistakes of competitors Red Bull and Ferrari, as they attempt to recover from a disappointing 2022 season. Mercedes had dominated F1 with dominating all-round packages, having won all 8 Constructors' Championships and 7 Drivers' Championships since the introduction of turbo hybrids in 2014. However, the team was taken off guard by the new ground effect regulations in 2022, suffering from porpoising at first. Once this was resolved, the crew realised that a deeper, more fundamental problem was plaguing the W13, which was thought to be tied to the design of the floor, and which they couldn't fix in the middle of the season. With only one victory and lesser top speed capabilities, the team's season was nearly a washout. Mercedes fell to third in the constructors' standings, trailing runaway leaders Red Bull, but only 36 points behind Ferrari after its many misfortunes ended with Mattia Binotto's resignation as team boss. Despite being deposed in 2022, Wolff is certain that Mercedes must not lose sight of the wider vision, using F1 history to support his case. As a result, Wolff issues a warning to Mercedes. F1's two previous periods of dominance were experienced by Ferrari and later Red Bull, before the Mercedes era began. The Italian team's overwhelming domination came to an end in the late 2000s, when major figures such as Michael Schumacher, Ross Brawn, and Jean Todt all stepped down, while Red Bull advancement was stifled by the introduction of turbo hybrids. Ferrari may never recover from the loss of its top team, and Wolff wants Mercedes to stay on top. You can see that with Ferrari, they lost the whole top leadership and the key driver. He explained when asked by the media if he was sure Mercedes wasn't about to experience a similar drop in form. It is something that you can trace back to when Schumacher, Brawn and Todt all departed in 2006-07. With Red Bull, it was a situation in that the power unit regulations changed, fundamental parameters changed. But we can be looking at that and thinking that we had better be careful. This season has gone by in a heartbeat, and we can't let it happen where we look back after next season and be the one asking what happened. Mercedes will not be the reigning champions in 2023 for the first time since 2014. But Wolff is certain that the team has not missed anything and is not concerned about the outcome. "I have no such feeling in Formula 1 such as fear," he explained. "It's too big of an emotion and we need to be sharp. We lost many months of development because we simply had to solve the porpoising problem before being able to actually add performance to the car. Whatever we added in terms of downforce, we went nowhere. The drivers couldn't feel it, and the car became even more unpredictable and the bouncing got worse. So consider a 6-month delay in putting performance on the car, and it will be tremendously difficult to catch up against Ferrari and Red Bull. We've started the 100-meter sprint 10 meters behind everyone else, so we've just got to run faster. This organization has everything it needs to run fast." Thus, Wolff is satisfied that Mercedes fought their way back in the final stages of last season, even winning in Brazil. At the same time, he understands that past results are no guarantee of future success. That means he wants to keep his crew on edge and do everything he can to get a powerful car on the grid in early 2023. Mercedes appears to have gained optimism with the departure of Binotto. Indeed, the Italians were difficult to beat last season, but their present troubles may force them to take a step back. It provides chances for Mercedes, but Wolff prefers to concentrate on himself for the time being. And let's not forget, the Ferrari still have a fast car, so if they can overturn their internal problems, they as well are a threat to reckon with. Do you think Mercedes will return to the top next year? And what are your feelings about Wolff's words? Let us know in the comments below. Let us know what topics you'd like to see on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.